This morning it was drizzling rain. Around the curve come a passenger train, like a DOT.
Good morning. It's a rain hike. All those fair weather hikers are certainly missing out this morning on this windy and rainy day on the back side of the remote side of Mount Diablo, California State Park. And there's absolutely beauty everywhere. There's no crowds, obviously. And I absolutely love hiking in these type of conditions. And I have over 100 miles of experience trekking through wet conditions, and I wanted to take the time today on my hike to share some useful tips for hiking in the rain, from pre-planning to packing the essentials and dressing accordingly to the weather forecasts. So let's get going and get up this hill. All right, I'm going to talk about the upper body, a couple different rain jackets for protection for the torso. We're going to look at the legs, rain kilt that I'm wearing now, and also some rain pants and hand and glove protection for options for keeping those kind of warm and cozy during the inclement weather. And also the feet. We're going to talk about some waterproof liners and my foot system that I use to truck through the wet weather. And then we're also going to talk about my new umbrella, my new hiking umbrella that I got that's actually working out pretty fun for today. So let's keep moving. The first tip, and probably the most important, is preparation and planning. Knowing the weather forecast is essential for hiking in the rain. You really need to know the temperature range and what kind of wind conditions you're up against. And the way I've broke it down, I found that 40 degree, the 4 degrees Celsius mark is about the hinge point. Anything above 40 degrees, I have a setup that I use for rain hiking. And then I have a different setup, a little more robust for rain gear setup below 40 degrees, you know, right around freezing to rain and sleet. So I have two different setups. And that is definitely determined by the weather forecast, and knowing that beforehand allows you to pack and bring the right essential gear elements to get on the trail. For weather forecasting, I use the app called Windy. It's a really cool program that has a bunch of different weather forecast models, and some of those models are really geared in for those remote backcountry areas, taking into consideration the elevation of where you're at, the valleys and the remote areas. There's an AI kind of logarithm that brings it all together and provides some pretty accurate forecasts, much better than the other apps that basically take some of the larger cities around the area that you're at in the backcountry for weather information. It is really cool for the preparation and the planning before you start your hike. It never ceases to amaze me how beautiful it is out here hiking in inclement weather. Without the people and the crowds, it is so peaceful and it's just amazing. The rain's kind of let up, and I'm taking a break, having a little coffee that I brought this morning, which is always nice, a little warm drink to warm you up. And I've stopped at a Native American mortar spot. The holes here in the rocks are where the Native Americans crushed their acorns and made into their acorn flour and made it for their breads and their food source. There's a bunch of these mortar holes all over these rocks. And it's just a really special place here in Mount Diablo. I always think back of thinking about all the little Native American kids running around here playing, having a good time. The parents working, making dinner. Pretty special place. Well, those frogs must have been pretty big. That was loud. Always something to see. So it started raining again, and might look a little funny, but I have my new umbrella, and it's kind of cool because it mounts onto the backpack. You can kind of see the connections here, kind of this connection here, and then down here at the bottom. And you don't have to hold it, and it basically covers you pretty well. I'm finding it's a little windy today, so there's an issue with that, but it's actually really nice to have the umbrella keep the rain off you. You can look at your phone a lot easier for your wayfinding on your maps. My photography equipment, it's kind of nice to have this cover. And I also got it because it's very useful for summertime and hiking in the desert for a little shade, and it has a reflective kind of a silver color on there to help with sun protection. So it's a dual use summer and rain, and I'm finding it to be pretty cool. So continuing on. The wind is ripping. These are the big gusts I was expecting. There's gonna be about 45-mile-per-hour gusts. I'm at the top of a ridge up here. The rain's starting to come down pretty strong. I'm off trail, and I'm gonna find a place to bunker down and share some more tips with you this beautiful day. All right, out of the wind. Behind me is that ridge I was on. The wind was ripping, but I found this really cool area here, these rocks, buffering the wind. Wind's coming from that direction. Here's the tarp setup. Yep, I brought a tarp on my day hike. Why not? I have it. So I got a little place set up here where I can kick back, have a little lunch, and review some more rain hiking tips with you. All right, all cozy under the tarp and ready to talk about the next tip for hiking in the rain. And that's really, what do you pack? What are the essential items you bring? And that primarily has to do with clothing to be safe and comfortable in inclement weather. So the first part of the clothing system I want to talk about is the torso, the upper body, and that has to do with rain jackets. And I talked about 2 different gear setups that I like to have for trips. I either bring a gear setup for temperatures above 40, and then I have a more robust gear setup for temperatures below 40. So above 40 degrees, when it's a little warmer, I have a really ultralight rain jacket that I was wearing on the hike up here that you saw me wearing. And this is the Montebell Versalite rain jacket, and it comes out at 6.7 ounces. And it's a really lightweight material, and it's a 2-layer composite fabric that's put together so it wets out a little faster than more the robust one that I use for winter. The key things about rain jackets is you want a hood that has an adjustable strap to tighten it around your hat so when it's windy it doesn't blow off. And you really want to be able to dump heat and manage that moisture when you're hiking up hills and exerting yourself. So pit zips, zippers on the armpits here that you can open up and dump the heat. Also a full zip in the front so you can open it up and release more heat and moisture when you're starting to sweat. So that's what I use in the temperatures above 40 degrees. When it's below 40 degrees, I step it up a notch and I bring a heavier rain jacket. This is a 3-layer material with a little Gore-Tex in it. This is the Arc'teryx Zeta AR jacket, and it's heavier. It comes in at 16.7 ounces, but it also has the adjustable hood, and it has the pit zips and the front zips. So it's just a more robust version of my ultralight rain jacket. So the key with it is have all the zippers to manage the moisture and dump heat, and some tightening straps to keep the hood on in those really windy conditions. So next we talk about the legs. How do we protect the legs when you're hiking in the rain? Well, above 40 degrees, I really go ultralight, and I like to hike in a rain kilt. This is what I was wearing earlier on the hike up here. It's a very lightweight material. It just has a Velcro kind of strap around your waist, goes around your shorts. You can dump heat out very easily when it's warm, and it keeps your shorts and your midsection really warm and dry. So it's a great piece of gear for the 40-degree temps. When the temperatures drop below that, I just go to a full pant, a full leg rain pant, if you will. This is the Montebell Super Dry Tech Ultralight, and it comes at 4.7 ounces. And this is a really nice lightweight material, and it really blocks the wind, so it keeps that wind chill down, and it gives you full protection on the legs. The key that I recommend with full rain pants is you want to have a zipper down on the shoe area around the bottom of the pant, so you can put these on and off without taking your shoes and your hiking shoes on and off when you're out in the rain. It's really cumbersome to have to stop and take your shoes off and go through that whole ritual. When it starts to rain, you take these out of the pack, you slip them on over your shoes, and you just keep hiking. And again, I stay in my shorts, and I just put these over my shorts. Hot coffee's awesome. Glad I brought that. Still raining, tarp's working well. So let's move on to the hands. Well, the hands are really important because they're exposed, of course, all the time when you're hiking. They're out with your hiking poles, and they're right in the elements. So when temperatures are above 40 degrees or even a little warmer than that, I don't even use gloves. I just use bare hands. They just rain, get wet, not really a big deal. When temperatures start to drop and get closer to the 40, there is a chill. And I found that these Z-Packs Virtus rain mitts they're just like a little over mitt. It's a real thin material. I will put these mitts just right over my hand, no gloves underneath, just that. And what this does is it blocks the wind. They do wet out. You do get wet in your hands, but it keeps them quite warm. I found these to work really well. And they're only 0.8 ounces, so it's a wonderful piece of gear, a glove to carry in your pack, day hikes and for backpacking. When temperatures drop below 40, you have to push it up a little. And I've played around with a lot of different types of gloves, and the issue is they just wet out. So what I found is these rubber work gloves that you get at a hardware store do wonders. They have kind of a felt inside the glove here, and they're rubberized. They have some grip surface on the palm, and these are completely waterproof. You can dunk these in water and they will not leak or anything. The key is you have to manage your moisture for sweat. You got to be careful not to wet them out from the inside. But these are super warm, and when it's below 40 degrees, around freezing, there's sleet and really cold rain and wind, these are a game changer. Highly recommended. I'll have some descriptions of all this gear in the descriptions below. But these come in at like 4.7 ounces, so they're a little heavier, but you need them, especially when it's cold and around the 40 degrees. All right, the last part of the body you want to protect from the rain when you're hiking are your feet. And I don't think you really protect them. They're going to get wet regardless. So what I do is just give into it and just let them get wet. So what I hike in are trail runners. They're just real lightweight. These are the Topo Athletic Traverse trail runner shoes. And they're 22 ounces. And they're not waterproof. And they're soaked. They're completely drenched from today. And they're actually, my feet are quite warm. I wear merino wool quarter height socks from Darn Tough, and they're sopping wet. But again, their feet are pretty warm. When I have my kilt on that I was wearing earlier, your feet are totally exposed and you're walking through puddles and everything. Just let it be. Just have fun with it. However, that works well for temperatures above 40 degrees for me. When it starts to get a little colder than that, your feet do get cold. And what I've found that works really well are these Rocky waterproof socks. These are a Gore-Tex material. They're actually very difficult to find nowadays, but they're a waterproof sock, kind of breathable, And what I'll do on those colder days below 40 degrees, I'll put these over my dry merino wool socks and then put the shoes on. And these will keep your merino wool socks pretty dry and your feet pretty dry, and therefore a lot warmer when the temperatures are cooler. So these waterproof sock liners do wonders in those colder temperatures. So how do you keep your gear from getting wet? How do you stow your gear in your backpack when it's raining when you're on the trail? A lot of people buy those waterproof stuff sacks for every item, and they have all these different ways of trying to keep each piece of gear dry and waterproof. But what I recommend is just get a bag liner that goes inside your backpack. You could use a garbage bag. You can use a trash compactor bag that's a little more durable. Or what I use is the Nyaflume pack liner. It's a real lightweight, kind of durable plastic bag that basically goes on the inside of your backpack, and you put all your items in there that you don't want to get wet, like your sleeping bag, your additional clothing, you know, whatever you have, but everything's inside of that, and you don't have a bunch of other bags to deal with. Backpacks are, nowadays, a lot of them are waterproof, they say, but they often leak. So this is a waterproof backpack, but I found some moisture in there at the bottom, so this Nyaflume pack liner works really well. And things you pack away that are wet and you don't want to put them in there, like the tarp, I will take the tarp and I'll just stuff it right on the outside pack here and stuff it right in here, and it just gets wet. So don't put the wet items in there. Keep the wet items separate from the dry. It's really that simple. It's great. So it's been a really fun day up here. I'm gonna head back over the ridge here where you can hear the wind, but we will see how it is on the way down. Well, I hope you found these hiking in the rain tips helpful. If you're curious about all the other gear I bring in my pack on multi-day trips, check out my gear loadout video, which I go through every single item and break each thing down into different gear systems. You can check it out here. And I hope you guys find all this helpful. And I hope you get out there and experience the rain. It is unbelievable. It is so fun to be out here with no people and just pure solitude. It's great. Cheers. Happy hiking.